I myself never wanted to come to medicine. Definitely, it was the parental pressure. You all should set your study routine from the start because that is what goes with you till the end.
Should people come to medicine or not? What's your recommendation?
Assistant study continuously sitting for 6 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours.
A days.
Yeah, that is just a waste of time.
How do you study for finals, especially for those who don't make notes? What's your recommendation? Should people or students make notes or not?
For first year medical students, I think everybody goes for Guyton for physiology, which is a very bad approach. To be honest, I read Guyton in first year. Then
How do you manage financial stress while studying?
I think the thing that changed my life was Anki, flashcards.
What's the most challenging experience you faced in med school? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new guest, Dr. Asim. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure, Asim. Asim, could you introduce a bit about yourself?
My name is Mohammad Asim and I belong to the Madakhan. I had my A-levels from Edwards College, and then after that I came to Northwest, from which I completed my MBBS degree, and now I'm here.
Lovely. Okay, Asim, the first question is, what's the secret to managing multiple subjects in medical school?
I think balance is the key. Like, you balance different subjects accordingly. If you give more time to one subject and you ignore the others, then that is what failures comes in. So balance.
Could you give a bit of example?
Like, for example, giving equal time to other subjects, like distributing their time between subjects. For example, if you are giving 2 hours to one subject and you ignore the other, then that is not that is not good, I think. So if you give 2 hours to one subject, you should give 2 hours to the other subjects as well. That's how
So
you
like you
keep the
distribute
balance.
the time accordingly.
Yeah.
The difficulty, you have to consider the difficulty level of that subject. And
Yeah, exactly.
lovely. Asim, what was your routine or pattern for studying an exam that helped you succeed and become topper from first year till final year?
I think consistency, like if you start working from the start of the academic year, then everything gets easy. Like for example, if you waste the whole year and then you sit for study during your preps time, that's what your brain gets a lot of burden. So main thing is, like, you get started from the start of the year, and eventually everything will become smooth.
Absolutely. But for example, if our year started from January,
Yeah.
so what's your recommendation of time? Like from January we have a new year, for example, second year.
Yeah.
So what's your recommendation? Should we wait for 2-3 months to be relaxed?
Definitely, yeah. Like 1 to 2 months, you need, obviously your brain needs rest. So 1 to 2 months, I myself would like rest for 1 to 2 months, and then after that I would gradually start my study. I would keep my pace. My pace would increase with time, and eventually this is what this would work for me. So I think it will work for everybody else as well.
Perfect. Okay, Asim, it's a debatable question. Some people say that self-study, some people said, some students that, lectures and other YouTube videos, watching these kind of stuff. What do you believe? What's the best approach? Lectures versus self-studies?
By lectures, you mean college lectures or like other lectures like the online platforms?
College lectures specifically.
I think, I'm sorry to say this, but college lectures are just a waste of time. To be honest, when I was in college, I would give the whole time to cards, Anki cards, flashcards, which I'll explain later on.
Exactly.
Lectures never helped me. So I think self-study is what
Better than...
yeah, it is better than lectures.
And what is the specific thing in self-study that you like the most?
Concentration is the key. Like in lectures, obviously there's a lot of distractions from other students, and you cannot keep the pace with the teacher. Sometimes in self-study you concentrate, you learn, you leave that page until you don't leave that page until you learn it. So that is what.
So your approach is self-study?
Yeah, self-study.
Okay, love it. Okay, Asim, which textbooks are must-have for first-year medical students?
For first-year medical students, I think everybody goes for Guyton for physiology, which is a very bad approach. To be honest, I read Guyton in first year. Then in second year, one of my best friends, my buddies, he told me about a book, and that is like the Queen, because the author, we would call that author the Queen, because their book was like lit. It is called Linda Costanzo. It is very concise, very conceptual, and it helps you understand stuff very easily. So I think
for physiology.
Yeah, for physiology. So I think people should go for Linda Costanzo for physiology in first year and second year.
And what's about anatomy?
Anatomy, I think Snell is the standard book.
Snell is your choice.
Concise, because if you go for Gray's anatomy, that is very big, lengthy again. It causes brain fog. So Snell is
the perfect one for anatomy, and for physiology you mentioned Linda Costanzo.
Yeah, and for biochem, I think there was a book called in India. It is called Pankaj. So that is also a good one. For embryology, to be honest, I like some students would use other books, but I myself used Langman. Langman is a direct approach book. Like if you watch lectures with it, then it is very easy and it is retainable.
So these are the 4 books that you would recommend to your juniors and to all the medical students.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. Asim, how do you tackle block exams and past papers? What do you recommend to the students about block exams?
I never took block exams seriously, and I think you as one of my colleagues, you must know it.
Exactly.
I would start studying for the prof from day first. I never took block exams seriously. So the main thing is focus on prof. Blocks exams, I don't want to say useless, because they help you learn things, but I never took them seriously.
Love it. Absolutely perfect. True. How do you deal with overlapping topics in different subjects? Like there's a topic which is in one subject, and then the same topics also present in the other subjects.
Yeah.
What your recommendation for topics like these?
You study that topic like in full depth from one book, and then for example, if in another subject again you come across that topic, you just give it a quick read. If you find any extra points, you note them down. That is the key. So you learn it from one book, and then from the other book, if you come across that topic again, you give it a quick read, and if you find any new points, you just add them to your notes. Yeah, I would say notes. So that is what helps.
How do you study for finals, especially for those who don't make notes? What's your recommendation? Should people or students make notes or not?
From my perspective, I would make notes definitely. Notes is something that makes stuff easy to retain, to remember, and for clearing your concepts. So I think if those who don't make notes, they should start making.
So you recommend to make notes?
Yeah, definitely.
And you would make for every subject throughout your 5 years journey?
That would depend, like depending on the subjects. For example, if you are asking me for first year and second year physiology, yes, definitely I would make notes for physiology. Anatomy, that is something like memorization stuff. So making notes is not ideal for that, but for physiology, yes. Biochem, yes. Again, I think reading from the book is a good approach.
Okay.
But in just like
so in first year only for physiology.
Yes.
And what about second year?
Again, second year is the same thing. And then for third year and fourth year, I would make notes for pharma, for pathology, and yes, and forensic was the third one. But I think that again, that subject doesn't require making notes. So these two subjects, like pathology and pharma,
you would make notes.
Yeah.
And the last year, what about final year?
Final year is actually the combination of all these 4 years. So by that time, your concept gets clearer and clearer, and I think you just need to read the book, and notes is not required in the final year. And it is more clinical, so you need to learn stuff more at hospital. Yeah.
Okay, Asim, how do you cover a large amount of materials in a short time, especially during your final exam?
I think I'm the guy who gives a lot of time to study, so I never experienced that thing, like covering a lot of stuff in a short time. That's why I would start my study from the start of the year, so in order to avoid this stuff,
this burden.
Yeah. So
you never
I cannot answer that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
perfect.
I myself take a lot of stress. So if I was in that situation, maybe
that would be disaster for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, Asim, should we focus on prime and minor subjects, or will they be covered automatically?
I never studied them. I would just solve their MCQs, and they quite easily get covered in MCQs. So I will recommend to the first and second students to just solve the MCQs of these minor subjects and not to study them in detail because they waste a lot of time.
And what your recommendation from where they should solve those questions?
I think they should solve these questions from the past papers because most of the time they get repeated. So yeah, that's a bonus thing. Bonus points.
Absolutely perfect. Asim, I'm having a trouble. This is the question from a student that I'm having a trouble adjusting to hostel life and studying. Can you offer some guidance?
I think motivate your roommate about study and start your roommate, make your roommate start studying, and eventually this problem will get solved. So and also, I think our college has got a good library. So if you are suffering such problem, then the library
is a perfect for you. Absolutely amazing.
But I think motivating your roommate for study is also a good thing.
It's absolutely perfect. Are KPK medicine related these WhatsApp group and Facebook groups helpful or just a distraction?
I never knew about them and I never joined any. So
and what's your recommendation to the student?
I think it depends. Like if you take it in a positive way, you take positive messages and ignore the negativity, because I think a lot of in our society this is like a big thing. Even the public medical colleges, they like take the private students inferiorly. So if you can avoid that negativity and just take the positive messages home, why not?
How do you manage friends with non-serious behavior who don't let you study?
I think I would thank Allah for blessing me with such friends that were very cooperative and they were as studious as me. So I never faced any such problem. Yeah, back then when I was in hostel in my school time, I would just tell my roommate like I need to study, and that also thankfully I got a cousin. He was my roommate, so he would understand, and we had this good relation. So yeah.
Asim, your study behavior is just from the beginning, or you just enter into medical school and then your behavior toward the studies completely change and you study for like whole 8 months?
I think in A levels my study I would say my study routine or the
technique
way I would
and
study, that changed. So from A levels.
From A level onward, absolutely amazing. एक चीज़ जो आपको एक फ्रेंड में नज़र आए या अपने कोलीग्स में और आप कहते हैं कि मैं उसके कभी भी फ्रेंड नहीं बनूंगा इसका?
Jealousy and
envy.
Yes, jealousy. Because you can tell from the person's actions कि उसके intentions क्या है ना, कि वो मतलब if the person gets happy when you succeed and if the person gets sad, you can tell from their face. So
can you name a single person in our class?
I think that person already knows. She already knows.
How do you manage stress and stay motivated? You mentioned that you would stress a lot in the final exam.
Yes.
So how you manage it and how you motivate it?
Taking breaks. Taking breaks is the main thing. If you take breaks and if you exercise, one of my best friends, he never takes stress. Why? Because he exercises. So if you exercise, if you take breaks, then that will relieve your stress.
So would you recommend to students or your junior that they should do exercise during their exam time?
Exactly, and taking breaks, like consistent study, continuously sitting for 6 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours
a day.
That is just a waste of time. You will not retain any single thing. So taking breaks in between, even short breaks, that is the main thing.
So what is like, how much student do study for like 1 hour or 2 hours, then take break how many minutes?
It depends upon the attention span. If the attention span is 30 minutes, you start taking breaks after every 30 minutes. If the attention span is 1 hour, that totally depends upon the person.
Asim, how do you manage financial stress while studying?
Yeah, I think you should study hard, get the first position, and then get a lot of money from the college. That is how I think one of the ways and the best ways, and in the best way.
That you can manage your financial stress. Absolutely loving answer. What's your secret to staying consistent and disciplined? Like you said it already, that being consistent and disciplined, but what's your secret?
I think that the goal, like the goal that that is in your mind, like your future. I think my future is very important for me. What I want to become and my career. So yeah.
So, for example, what was your goal in that time when you were studying for when you were in second year?
I want to be distinct among others. I want it to be like on the above, on the front. So I think that is what motivated me.
Absolutely lying. Okay, Dr. Asim, how do you avoid burnout in med school?
Going for a trip to boost your serotonin levels, and that is what I think increases your brain capability of doing study and doing other stuff. So taking trips to the north, boosting your serotonin levels, and that is what I think is one of the most important thing, and should be one of the most important things in a person's life.
And would you recommend solo travel or solo trip or with your friends or class?
With friends, definitely.
Because you never visit with us. So what's your recommendation?
I think it depends. With friends, definitely. Most of the fun is with friends, to be honest, I would say. But some people prefer going with the family. That is also good. The main thing is you visit the north, you see the greeneries,
you see the nature.
You boost your serotonin levels. That is what matters.
Okay, Asim, the most important question is that what resources did you find out most helpful in your studies?
I think the thing that changed my life was Anki, flashcards. Anki is actually a space repetition thing. It has got its own app, and it tells whatever you want to know. It shows you only that. So that is what I think saves your time, and just focus on the main thing and the important points.
Important points that you do not know it in. Okay, and what's your recommendation? Should people use the Premade decks or should they make their own?
I think making your own deck is very time consuming. It takes a lot of time. Premade decks are very good to use, but if you want to add new cards or you want to edit the Premade cards, you can definitely do that. But I would recommend the Premade decks, and then if you want to edit some cards or you want to add some cards, you can definitely do that.
And what was your strategy?
The same that I just explained.
I
would use Premade decks if I would find anything extra, or I would get any extra point from the book. I would make a card from that point, and if I wanted to edit anything from that card or from the pre-existing card, I would just do that.
Absolutely loving. How do you prioritize self-care and maintain a healthy work-life balance?
Yeah, as just before I explained, I think taking breaks and then again going for trips with your friend, with your family, just to divert your mind, and boost your serotonin levels. And that is what sharpens your focus.
Absolutely amazing. What's the most challenging experience you faced in med school?
The most challenging experience I faced in med school, I think missing on occasions during my preps time. Like whenever, actually your exam is usually in the winters, and that is the time when most of the cousins are free and they just plan get-togethers, and definitely I would miss that out. I just wouldn't be able to join them.
Exactly.
So that was the most challenging and the most sad thing in my life.
Absolutely amazing. Asim, what's the best piece of advice you received during your med school?
I think I never received any advice from anybody, to be honest. But the advice that I would like to give is to study from the start. Just believe in yourself and stay focused.
Stay focused. Okay, Dr. Asim, the final question is, what's your final message for incoming first-year student at Khyber Medical University or at North School of Medicine?
I think you all should set your study routine from the start, because that is what goes with you till the end. For example, if you are the person who just studies during the preps time, and during the first year, if they only study during their preps, this routine will go with them till the end. And if they start studying from the start, the same routine will go with them till the end. That is what I experienced. So I think you should set your study routine from the start, because that is what will go with you till the end.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay, Sam, the one question that I just pop up in my mind, that do you recommend to students, to FSC students, that they should come to medicine or not? Because you are being a topper of Khyber Medical University for the last 5 years, and mashallah, you are absolutely a genius and hardworking individual that I know. But what your recommendation? Should people come to medicine or not? What's your recommendation?
If you ask my point of view, I myself never wanted to come to medicine. Definitely it was the parental pressure that brought me here. And if you look at the medicine situation nowadays, it has saturated. Like it's saturated so much. Like I don't think if in the next few years the situation will be the same as like engineering as it is now in Pakistan.
It's just like a.
So I would recommend to just if they like medicine so much, then definitely they should follow their goals. If they don't, I think they should follow another path. Medicine, I think nowadays is like become business. So yeah.
And Asim, you mentioned that it was parental pressure that you come to medicine. Are you happy now?
Whenever I'm free, I'm happy. When there is no study. But during my preps time, when I study and I have this workload, then definitely I regret coming to the medicine. Yeah.
Do you enjoy your work or not?
Yeah, I enjoy like my clinical. If I go to clinical side, and definitely clinical side is different from the academic side.
Exactly.
That is definitely, I think, enjoyable. And let's see what happens.
Thank you so much, Asim. It was an honor that you just come to my podcast. Absolutely an honor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and it was an honor for me to be present here.
My
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.